Sovala the Penitent, first keeper of the Long Vigil. A well-known legend among followers of Stendarr. Original author unknown. Read by Renara Hawke. Long ago, in the land of the Dunmer, there lived a young woman by the name of Sovala. Born into the great house of Dress as a low-ranking cousin, she grew to embody the terrible mix of wickedness and jealousy that can be ever found in those lucky enough to be noble, but unlucky enough to be unimportant. Like those around her, she kept people as slaves, beat her servants, and plotted to kill her kin. Then oblivion was opened, and so everything was changed. First, she lost her husband, a man whom, despite everything, she had grown to love. Torn apart by Daedra, Sovala was helpless to save him, and so bore witness to cruelty. She and her 2 children survived the invasion by hiding in a cellar with her slaves and servants, but even this did not turn her from her ways. Then Bardau fell, and so everything was changed again. Second, she lost her son. When the Red Mountain cried out in pain, so too did countless serfs across the land, hungering for a life without chains. Sovala's son, a poor, blameless boy of 7 years, was killed in a slave riot. And so she bore witness to injustice. Fleeing Morrowind, Sovala and her remaining child journeyed to Cyrodiil, but still did not turn from her ways. Then Umbriel came, and so everything was changed another time. Finally, she lost her daughter. A woman grown by then, but still the light of Sovala's life. The last dying light of a life she once knew. When Umbriel came to Cyrodiil, the city would be razed, and no place was safe. Sovala and her daughter sought refuge in a house of a nobleman, but were turned away at the door, as the family within did not want to share their provisions. And so did Sovala bear witness to greed. When the undead army of Umbriel arrived, Sovala's daughter was too weak and malnourished to continue. Sovala was forced to leave her behind, never to be seen again. Broken and on the edge of death, she fled to Coral, hoping to finally escape the tragedies that had befallen her. But Sovala was not strong enough to reach the city gates, and collapsed on the road of exhaustion. That night, thinking herself on the verges of insanity, she saw a light at the top of a nearby hill, and began crawling towards it. When she reached the summit, a man stood before her, a silver chalice in his hands. In her desperation, Sovala cried out, "Help me! I have borne witness to cruelty, injustice, and greed beyond measure! Please, be my salvation and my succor, for none have yet deigned to do so. Help me reach the city, and I swear I will live a better life than repent for my wicked ways." Stendarr spoke to her then. "You claim to have witnessed cruelty, but the death of your husband was mercy. For had he lived, the Daedra would have visited upon him torments and afflictions 1,000-fold worse than his suffering. You claim to have witnessed injustice, but the slave revolt was justice, meted out by those who had been wronged. For those babes who had been taken, enslaved, and killed by you and your house. You claim to have witnessed greed, but turning you away was charity. For there were already many starving that were taken in by that nobleman. And if he had allowed you entry, Your wickedness would have commanded you to steal from his family and those left without, leaving none to survive. You ask for salvation, but you have not sought forgiveness. You swear that you will repent, yet you are moved to neither contrition nor reproach. And so I cannot help you before you help yourself, should you wish your soul to ever heal. And then Stendarr disappeared, causing Sovala to despair. But in her heart, she knew that he was right. That night, she bared all of her sins to the world, from her first year of life until her latest, and asked for forgiveness. She did not ask for salvation, as she knew she did not deserve it, and expected to die upon the hill. Thus was kept the first long vigil. The next morning, Sovala the Wicked was dead, but Sovala the Penitent was born. 2 travelers, who were later Holger the Holy and Savilis Sultan, found her upon the rock and gave her water, in the spirit of charity, mercy, and compassion, the 4th of Stendarr's virtues. She vowed to always protect the weak, to never withhold what she could give, to always ward off evil where she found it. Her new companions, so moved by her conviction and her story, agreed to join her. Every night henceforth has a devotee of Stendarr sat upon the rock to keep the long vigil. They watch for any sign of the steadfast Lord's return, offering prayer to him nightly. They watch for any sign of those in need, to whom they might grant the succor that Sovala had so desperately needed. And they watch for danger, so that they might protect the weak and feeble from destruction.